The third round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League will see drivers head down to a repaved Phoenix International Raceway for intense short track racing in the Dallara DW12. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our coverage exclusively live here on RaceSpotTV. Will Vincent along with Aaron Likens and Cam Stark. Qualifying is just in the books, and Aaron, we are at a track which has always been entertaining. What we actually do now is we repave it, make it smooth as anything, and then set these guys up for an intense race here tonight.
Oh, you said it right, the word intense. This race has typically, in seasons past, been filled with lots of passing and contact. This is the repaved version. It's faster, still as tight, and my goodness, well, I think we are about to see just an absolute battle of a race here tonight.
And the thing with this track is, it's fast. Turn 1 and 2 is very different compared to turn 3 and 4.
Yes, it is, and that's what, watching warm-up, a lot of drivers are having difficulties with the balance of the car. The track used to be a lot slower, but it is so much faster now. You're carrying so much more speed because of the banking now in the dogleg, where a lot of these drivers are having snap oversteer. So expect to see some tire strategy, dirty air. I think all the mysteries and issues we've had in years past are just going to be magnified because the speeds are higher.
Speeds are incredibly high. I'll bring Cam Walsh into this conversation as well. Seeing a couple of highlights from the practice session. Cam, we know that these guys are going to be very fast at the start of a run. What we don't know is how much these guys respectively will drop off.
Yes, that is always going to be a good thing to watch, and we'll see when they do come into pits, and if there'll be any difference in pit strategies here today between any of the different teams. But it definitely should be interesting to see who can nail the pit entry correctly.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, let's run through it. Your starting grid for tonight's event, and it will be on pole position. Tim Holgate, qualifying time of 18.546. Eric Davis with Banshee Autosport will start alongside him. Then you've got Team Velociraptors, Chris Merritt in the inside of row number 2. Vic Cordell on the outside for AeroX Racing. So 4 different teams represented in the top 2 rows. On to row number 3, John Porzik in 5th and Dustin Ollis in the 6th position. Terry Mattinson and Brian Simpson in row 4. Brian Norton, Ellis Stevens in row 5. Nefriarg, Brendan Lichtenberg in row 6. Randy Krosno, Rob Ungling in row 7. Anthony Kernish, Kerry Bettenhausen in row 8. Gary Borkenhager, Matt Polinsky in row number 9. Austin Esparti and Matt Kingsbury in row 10. Mikael DeJong and Chuck Eisenbarth in the 11th row. Mark Johnson, Steve Richardson in the 12th row. Then Ray Kingsbury, Mike Tester, Tim Miller, Paul Jenkins, Brandon Trost, Niles Anders, and then a couple of other drivers round out your field here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we will step aside for just one moment, then we'll be back with the race here live on RaceSpotTV. Cars are working themselves on the back straightaway then, getting set to go racing at Phoenix International Raceway for the third round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League on RaceSpotTV, powered by iRaceForLife.org and An1 Designs. There you can see your front row of Tim Holgate and Eric Davis. It will be a crazy, wild first couple of laps. That pace car is in. The third round of the championship will start right now. 145 laps, getting set to go racing, and immediately down into some 2 free ride racing, but a great jump there, Aaron, from Tim Holgate out front.
Tim Holgate, a great start, doing exactly what he needed to do and to get away from the mess. Speaking of a mess, they're going to go 3 wide into turn 3 for about P8. That's not going to work. Are they going to get
we've got
through?
a car on the wall. We've got a car spinning around on the racetrack there. That is, we've got a couple of guys involved, but Steve
At least
Richardson
6
is
cars.
outside. Yep, we've got a big one down at the conclusion of the first lap of the race under our first caution of the day. We'll get a look at that. Now, I do know that there is definitely a P1 racing car in there. I believe that Randy Crosno is involved in that mix. Let's have a look on board from him. Does look as though that there is a little bit of contact down on the back straightaway. You can see the guys are using a lot of that dog leg here today. Then down into turn number 3. Let's have a look on board of Randy Crosno. And did see a P1 car on the wall. Now, Randy Crosno actually loses it all by himself. There was a simultaneous incident going on around him, Aaron.
Yes, the incident I saw, Kerry Bettenhausen was 3 wide on the outside and just didn't know, just not enough room there. He spun around, and that essentially blocked the track. So we have Kerry Bettenhausen, Mike Johnston, Steve Richardson, Michelle DeJong, and a whole host of others. I think we lost a quarter of the field right there.
Yeah, there you can see the number 5 car out of the race. The number 77 machine, a Kerry Bettenhausen out of the race. And then, guys, swimming to avoid it, you see a last lap motorsports car involved in that one as well. We'll get ourselves one more look at that then from on board with Ray Kingsbury. So here you can see Kingsbury. He's actually at the rear of the field. The incident, the issue of this is, Cam, is that this track is so fast. Trying to slow that car down, but an incident's half a straightaway ahead of you. This is showing with Kingsbury actually got rear-ended there in the mix.
Yes, and it's especially difficult coming out of a corner. Here at Phoenix, it's so fast, you're almost in a corner all the time. So for a lot of these drivers, I think they just went into this accident blind.
Let's have a look then. One more look from Michael DeJong. He was right there in the mix. And there you see Michael DeJong spun upside down. Number 56 machine in the mix as well. I believe that Tim Miller is also going to be classified out of this race. So a big impact to start our day here on the 3rd round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League. It is, though, Tim Holgate who leads the way right now from Christopher DeMeritt. We'll get that ticker running along the top of your screen. Number of drivers out of the race: Rob Ungerlings, Niles Anders, Christopher Block, Tim Miller, Michael DeJong, Mark Johnson, all classified as out of the race, Aaron.
Yeah, absolute big incident to start the race. And really, I don't want to say I'm shocked to see that, but last year I think we only had 5 cars finish on the lead lap. So this track is known for its high attrition rate, and we're starting off with a very... losing about a quarter of the field there almost.
Well, this track not only is high in attrition normally, adding this fast surface, Cam, a repaved surface here, then you've got the controversial dog leg, which actually we're right along board, and there you can see on the left hand side of your screen, you've got those cones on the left hand side, but you've still actually got part of an apron to run on, which is shorter way around. It's a little bit faster. And this track has got so many things going for it. The high speed, the controversial dog leg. We always expected there to be some form of early race melee.
Yes, it's always horrible to see a good race like this start off in an accident, but a lot of people getting really aggressive really early on, and Phoenix is a track that I'm actually a big fan of. It's a good-looking track. It produces good racing, but it does have a very high chance of disaster, as we've already seen.
Got a number of onboards to show you over the course of today's event. One today with the number 9 car. Said that about the number 44 car of Dustin Ollis as the lights are off on top of the Iris.com pace car. Got an onboard today as well from Gary Borkenhagen, from Ryan Simpson in the number 7 car, also by the 04 Penzone machine of Nefriag, and finally the Oxfam Banshee Autosport car of John Porzek. So, cars working themselves then. Lights are off on top of the Iris.com pace car. We go set back to green flag racing with 6 out of 145 laps scored complete. There's a view from the rear of Tim Holgate. There you can see single file restarts. All of these cars behind. Now this is going to make things interesting for this restart because of course you cannot pass on the inside. You can however pass on the outside line. There you can see the speedometer for Holgate bringing up the speed. Green flag back in the air. We are back to racing here at Phoenix International Raceway. Down into turn number 1 they come. Mid-pack, you've already got a little bit of action. Some of these guys already, Aaron, again, going too wide.
Yeah, and with the dirty air and the tire fall off, these restarts are going to be an absolute battle because you got to pick off the positions early. So expect these restarts that we see throughout the race, just drivers making moves that I don't normally think they'd go for, but today you're going to have to go because as the run goes on, I think passing is going to become more and more difficult.
Brandon Trost working along board with him in the number 66 car as he works himself through that dogleg there, and he's trying to catch up to the rear of Ellis Stevens in a battle for the 13th position on the racetrack. Pretty much nose to tail as they work themselves out towards corner number 4. Just ahead, there you can see Ryan Norton. He is moving up through the field right now in the number 84 car, just working himself now down to the inside of the number 7 car, managing to complete that pass as they come down in towards turn 3 and 4. That is Brian Simpson with Ryan Norton up 1 position on the racetrack, Cam.
Yes, and we did get away nice and cleanly here so far. Everyone's starting to actually break apart quite nicely here. So we had a couple of battles early off the restart, but everyone's just going to settle in. Hopefully we can avoid these incidents again.
Matt Kingsbury down to the inside, doing the crossover over the number 29 car there. Anthony Kernish moving himself up a position on the racetrack in his number 21 last lap motorsports car as we now complete 10 laps onto lap 11 here at Phoenix. There you can see the 2 wide racing that we were talking about. Now this mid-pack is incredibly close.
Oh, we just had contact between Simpson and the car behind him, Vic Caudell. Close moment in turn 3. They touched and somehow got away with it.
And there we are having a look from the rear of Brian Simpson. We'll get a replay of this one up on your screen, but I was about to say, Aaron, that this mid-pack has been incredibly close. Now let's have a look, see if we can see anything. This is working themselves on the in towards turn number 1.
Trouble! There's a wreck. Matt Poliski and Nefriog in trouble.
So we'll go back to live coverage in just 1 moment's time. Back under caution here, and there you can see almost contact between Vic Caudell and Brian Simpson right about there. You can see that Vic Caudell had an incident there, but we'll get ourselves a look then. Matt Polinsky is now out of this race, and let's have a look to see what happened to him.
Yeah, coming down the straightaway, Will. Nefriog got a huge run, went to the inside, and he was partially there. Polinsky, though, just said no, and the ensuing contact has eliminated both drivers from this race.
So then let's get another look from Polinsky as they work themselves down in towards turn 1. This is the view from him, and that is his car getting himself turned around. Now let's get another look then from Nefriog as let's have a look so we see what happened to him. Did he have that inside line? They worked themselves out of corner number 4. You can see Nefri moves himself down to the inside. He was inside there, I would say, Cam, by about at least a quarter of a car length.
I'd almost say he had a tire under Matt Pavelski there, and he definitely was on the inside. His spotter should have been telling him something. It seemed that he cut the nose off right there, but it's definitely tough to see these things, but Matt definitely looks like he came across on him.
And there you can see both of those drivers now classified as out of the race. Our second caution of the day, and pit stops taking place as well, Aaron.
Yes, pit stops. First 4 cars stayed out, then about 5th on back pitted. We had a couple cars stay out. They are a lap down, so it looks like 5th on back. Porzak, who was running 6th, pitted. Everybody on back pitted, so a split strategy, and I was going to say, well, expect split strategies here today. Passing's going to be difficult. Clean air means everything, so you're going to do whatever you can to get out front, and let's see, that's Rob Ungelnick's coming into the pits. He's a lap down, so lap cars can pit this time. But when IndyCar Series ran here, turn 1, that type of incident, we saw a very common incident here at Phoenix. Something that you don't say that you expect, but that type of wreck is run-of-the-mill for this place.
Well, you've got to ask that question. At what point are you, entitled to the corner? Now, there are some people, some train support that says as soon as you get half a front wing inside, then you're entitled to the corner cam. There's other people that says, well, actually, no, you need to be pretty much physically alongside. Really, in that situation, those two should have been able to go through that corner side by side. It just didn't happen.
Yes, and well, it is rough to see. It's when somebody gets to that point, and it's not like he just dived down on the entrance of the corner. He went to the inside halfway down the straight there, so it's not like Matt didn't see him there. It just unfortunately got way too close, and now they both have to pay the consequences.
And well, that brings up a point, paying the consequences. It was early in the race. Nefriag had a run, was going to the inside, and if Paluski just gave the space, both drivers would still be in this race. So paying the consequences, I think, is a very good way to phrase it. That early in the race, it's easy to cede the position and fight later on.
And of course, early in the race means these guys aren't going to get many points, and already you can think about championship implications. There you can see riding along board with Tim Holgate. The lights are off on top of the iRacing.com first safety car. Tim Holgate has led every single lap here, but he didn't pit under that second caution of the day. We had a number of people pitting. They were from John Porzak in the 7th position back. He's the first of the guys to pit. Brian Simpson, Vic Cordell, Brandon Choice, Dustin Eyes, Austin Esperty, and other drivers there on back all decided to pit. So your top 6 drivers, going to be interesting to see what happens to them as that pace car will once again come down towards pit road. Aerial coverage today is brought to you by And1 Designs. That pace car is going to make its journey back down towards pit road. We are back to green here at Phoenix.
And a scary thing for the people in the middle of the field, we have a car 3 laps down that was involved in the incident that is among the front runners. That could pose a very scary thing.
There you can see, as we're having a look with Brian Simpson, a 25 car on one of the Kingsbury brothers, as they are almost going to be 3 wide down in towards 3 and 4. You can actually see that that car laps down, Aaron, is really off pace.
Indeed, as well as Mike Testa, although that car isn't as badly damaged as Kingsbury, but with single file restarts, unlike double file, the lap cars slot in where they were at the time of the yellow, hence why they are running among the leaders.
And there you can see Kingsbury's just being passed left, right and centre. It's a damaged rear wing. You can see it there from this angle. Ray Kingsbury scored in the 20th position. I wouldn't be surprised if Race Control black flag him before too long.
Oh, you'd almost have to think that. I can see why he's doing this track. The attrition is normally high. Last season, we only had 5 cars running, so if he can stay out of the way and just sort of hide from race control, he may still get a top 10 out of this. But at that speed, if you're going that slow as Mike Testa gets loose, and we do have a spin on the back straightaway well off the track. Yeah, but we'll bring out the caution.
We are back to yellow, and that is Mike Testa there, our 3rd caution of the day. Now, you've got to ask yourself a question if you're Tim Holgate. This pit strategy, do I stick with it?
Oh man, all the trouble is in the back. I think we're going to continue to get yellow, so personally, I think you have to stretch this out.
And one of the things is, as well, is that he really needed that cam to be a 20-lap green flag run to make any credit out of it. It wasn't. It was about 3 laps.
Yeah, and we're hoping this doesn't become a common thing. We've had 3 different incidents, or 3 different yellows from 3 different kinds of incidents. Mike Testa just spinning it, looping it on his own. It's going to be interesting to see what Tim does here. I think he really wanted to just run the tank until it was dry and take fuel and tires, but these amount of cautions might have to change his mind here.
As there you can see, one driver coming back
Brian
down
Simpson.
Pit road. That is Brian Simpson. A couple of other people coming in towards the rear of the field as well to top up. So now we're on to 3 different strategies, but it mainly is Brian Simpson who we will have to keep our eye out on, as he's going to get himself another service in that number 7 machine. A nice little yellow target car he's working on right now, bringing this car into pit road. Let's have a look at this pit stop then. Oh, he undershoots as well there, Aaron.
And if there's ever a time to undershoot, now's the time. Not too many takers behind him, lots of groups. That's not going to cost him any positions. But I got to question this pit strategy. Going to the back, that's where most of the incidents have been, mid-pack on back. Does 3 laps of fuel or tires make that big of a difference here?
Well, we do know, of course, back at Homestead Miami Speedway 1 year ago, it was literally a quarter of a lap's worth of fuel that was a difference maker from Nefriag not necessarily being able to win that race. At a track like Phoenix, track position is important, but also staying out of the carnage. If these guys are trying to work on a fuel-saving strategy and they can keep out of the way, actually, it's not going to be too bad an idea for them. Let's have a look on board there with Christopher Demerit. He's been in second place pretty much ever since the light went green to signify the start of tonight's event. And we've still got 18 cars scored on the lead lap. Steve Richardson is the last one of those. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst we're working under caution, we're going to step aside for just one moment and then we'll be back. Continuing coverage here from good old Phoenix International Raceway.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun, but there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You can see those lights are off on top of the iRacing.com first safety car, getting set for what is going to be our third restart of the day. There you can see that pace car going to dart back down on towards pit road. Tim Holgate waiting a couple of moments. Now he gets going. Green flag back in the air. And you see a little bit of two-wide racing almost immediately as we come back to green flag racing. Riding along board then with Brendan Lynchburg running in the sixth position. But just behind him, Brendan Tracy.
And we got trouble on the back.
And we have got trouble on the back straight away again. And that is Chuck Eisenberg. Two cars upside down.
And Ellis Stevens.
We are back to yellow. Ellis Stevens out as well. Our fourth caution of the day. Aaron, we normally see a couple of cautions in the early going. Not as many as this.
Yeah, and this incident was set up. Brian Simpson went really aggressive on the car in front of him. Thought better of it. He was trying to pass Paul Jennings, thought better of it, and had to lift way out of the gas. And the drivers behind, even though it was a turn later, didn't have enough time as Matt Kingsbury finished off Ellis Stevens. So Matt Kingsbury couldn't react in time and just turned Stevens around.
Yeah, Ellis Stevens, Chuck Eisenberg, a big incident from them. Let's get another look at that then from on board with Ellis Stevens. You can see the restart. And then all of a sudden, Ellis Stevens getting turned from the rear, then put upside down. We'll get a final look at that then from this restart from Ellis Stevens' perspective. Let's have a look, see what happens to him coming down into the corner. And he just basically comes into the corner, has to check up a little bit, and then gets tagged from the rear by Matt Kingsbury, I believe, and then put upside down. Ellis Stevens, Chuck Eisenberg out of this race. This really isn't helping Tim Holgate at all, Cam.
No, I keep saying, I think he wants to run the gas tank till it's empty, but how many more cautions is he going to need until he changes his mind? Obviously, at this point, you don't even really want to take to the pits. You don't want to get back there in the back of the field. Very unfortunate that these chain reactions happen like that. Matt Kingsbury got off pretty easy, didn't even dent his front wing there. But I guess we'll just have to re-rack him and see if we can get it good this time.
So we continue our coverage of the third round of the 16th Street Racing League here on RaceSpotTV. Will Vincent, along with Aaron Likens and Cam Walsh, is working ourselves under our fourth caution of the day. And pretty much everyone is staying out by the looks of it, Aaron, once again.
Yeah, let's see, we are 20-something laps into this race, 29, and had about 4 or 5 laps. So at this rate, one tank strategy could work. Hopefully we see some green flag racing. If this race goes green, this race goes by quickly, but at this rate, there's not going to be anybody left to win this race.
Indeed, there isn't. We have got ourselves 16 cars scored on the lead lap. A couple of people trying to get some repairs to their race car. We'll have a look at one of them. It is, you see, Chuck Eisenberg, but that car, simply put, is not coming back out on the racetrack, Cam.
And yes, and it's another one, unfortunately, ending way too early. We're only 29 laps in on a 145-lap race. Now, I almost have to be worried for Tim Holgate. How many more restarts is he going to be able to get over Christopher Demerit before Demerit figures out what Tim's trying to do?
That's a good question. And you see that he does seem to be going a different go every way. Sometimes he goes early, sometimes he goes late. Aaron, it's time to use one of my famous NFL quotes. It's one of those things. Well, if you're going to split your playbook 50-50, at what point are you going to mix it up and go early twice in a row, go late twice in a row? And also, that car behind, does he start to notice a pattern?
Oh, absolutely. And restarts, we see so many drivers that aren't, well, all that good at it. It's not really that difficult. A lot of drivers are worried about jumping, but if you can center your car somewhat off-center, where if you go just a little too soon, you have a little bit of wiggle room. Oftentimes we see drivers just stay nose to tail, and they don't try to be proactive on it. They react, and by the time the leader goes, and by the time your eye and the signal goes down to your foot, you're already half a second behind. So you have to go almost in unison with them, almost predict, almost like judging a snap count, trying to know exactly when to go.
So the cars will work themselves through corner number 3 and 4. Again, that pace car will come back in. Let's try and get some green laps in. Green flag in the air one more time. And the Racingers work along board with Brandon Trost battling with John Paulsek in the battle for the 7th position on the racetrack. They've been going at it pretty much all race long. Trost goes down to the inside, Paulsek on the outside. Does look as though Paulsek is going to be able to hold on, but here comes Trost back down
Yellow
on the inside, and yellow once again.
Brian Simpson.
Wow.
So that pit strategy and race control unfortunate for Simpson, got to the inside in the dog leg, and Gary Borkenhagen, wow, I don't know, Will.
We'll get ourselves a look at it. Let's have a look then. Brian Simpson, this is working ourselves out of the corner. He dances down to the inside, and what happens? You just got two people going for the same piece of real estate. Speeds like that. Again, we are still, in my opinion, still very early into this race. We'll have a look at it coming down in towards the dog leg. And then you see down to the inside they essentially go. And then Borgenhagen just, I think, comes across there of Brian Simpson. The two make contact. Brian Simpson spears it into the wall, and he makes heavy contact there with the safer barrier.
And that was the trouble with making that pit stop that I questioned. He was running 5th, 6th. Why would he pit and go into the back and really sort of put himself in that position there, making that pit stop? Unfortunate break. He was there. Borkenhagen must just not have known he was there or didn't want to be passed under the line. I don't know, but if he wouldn't have made that pit stop, I don't think he would have been in that same position. And
of course, this has been one of the hot topics all race long, as you did see that Simpson went down to the inside first. Then you had Borgenhagen come down afterwards. And we're going to see whether we can get this from our overhead coverage as they work themselves down in towards turn number 2. And okay, let's zoom it down right here. As you can see, as they work themselves down into the corner, it was Simpson who went down first, and then it was Borgenhagen who went down second, Cam.
Yes, and we are getting a thing that he was given an EOL penalty for avoidable contact, I believe. Just looking how he goes into that line, I just don't know how you don't see a car there. It looks like he just went into the line as if nothing was the matter, and it's just very unfortunate to see these things.
And there you can see one more look at the incident, and that is a big moment there. Brian Simpson classified as, going to be classified as out of today's race. That's another restart.
Yeah, and Gary is going to be at the end of the line.
He made a pit stop, so really not that big of a penalty, to be perfectly honest.
Yep, so an EOL penalty there for the number 24. Broken arrow machine of Gary Borkenhagen as he works himself down the back straightaway again.
At this rate, Will, end of the line actually could be the safest place to be, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, go put yourself into a very big fuel strategy, and I think that you very easily can actually make a strategy from this part of the racetrack work. We are down already to 15 cars scored on the lead lap. We've got Ray Kingsbury scored as, I believe, 3 laps down. Mike Tester, Anthony Kernish scored as 4 laps down right now. Rob Ungelinks is actually back circling on the racetrack. I'm sure Race Control might have a word with him. Actually, his car doesn't look too bad right now, Cam.
Gary's car?
Rob Ungelinks' car.
Ungling's car? Let's see, I haven't seen his car. I've seen a couple that have had quite a bit of rear wing damage, but, you know, most cars I think have been getting off a little easy for the contact they've been having tonight.
Getting word, Brandon Trost is getting a end of the line penalty, but for Ungelinks, I think he's had some mechanical issues, been on pit road several times. I don't think he's had contact. And we have a delayed green.
Yeah,
we were going
green this time. We're going to wait for this field to sort itself out as Brandon Trost gets his end of line penalty in the number 66 Team Velociraptor Verizon car as he works himself through the back, the dog leg, having to allow all these cars to go past him. Tim Holgate, however, is still classified as your race leader. We will see that 1 to go sign here once again. And
another driver getting a penalty.
That they go basically under caution is making it more and more likely to become a one-stopper race cam for Holgate.
Yes, and I'm wondering, it looks like Race Control is getting really heavy-handed. They are getting very tired of seeing these incidents, so they've sent 3 drivers back to the end of the line, Gary Borkenhagen, Brandon Trost, and Austin Espedy. So it'll be interesting to see if that can sort this field out. I'm not necessarily sure what Brandon's and Austin's end-of-the-line penalties were for. Maybe trailing through the pits, but I'm not too sure. But it'll definitely be interesting to see if we can finally get a green flag run here.
Yeah,
hopefully we can.
Is in, and here we go. Green flag back in the air here at Phoenix.
Another good start for Holgate. Demerit perfectly happy in second. And we keep talking about Holgate having a one-stop strategy, but this also means Demerit, Davis, and Norton are on that same strategy.
Yeah, indeed. We're running along board, then we'll turn Tinson through in towards turn number 3 and 4. Do we complete a lap? Looks as though we will actually do so. Brandon Trost at the rear of the field, though. They are down on the apron. They
Not
are
so
2,
fast.
almost 3 wide. So work themselves out the corner, 2 wide, 2 deep. And you can see that Trost being boxed in by one of the Kingsburys, having to run very slowly on that high side line. Now he's going to go past Kingsbury and move himself back up into position.
For drivers that did get the end of the line penalty, sometimes when Race Control does give you a black flag, you find another gear. It fires you up. You drive angry, and sometimes driving angry is a one-way ticket into the wall. Other times you can do marvelous things. So for those 3 drivers, let's see how that pans out.
Ryan Norton right now running himself behind Eric Davis. It's battle for 3rd place on the racetrack. Ryan Norton in the Broken Arrow car, going to get himself a good run out the corner, moving himself down now to the inside of the number 65 Banshee Auto Sports car, completing that pass in 3 and 4, Cam.
My God, we finally had a pass and nobody crashed. So, no, very good driving from Davis and Norton, I guess. He looks like he's going to be losing a position to Terry Mathiasen as he gets loose there, and we'll almost see if Brendan Lichtenberg's going to go past Davis. Something's either going wrong with Davis or he's just getting out of the groove.
And one of these things, though, Aaron, is that these guys have had so many heat cycles of going green, then going to caution, then going green, then going back to caution. I do believe that Davis didn't pit under that first caution. Indeed, he hasn't pitted in this race. Your top 6 drivers still haven't made a pit stop in today's event. The first guy who has pitted is this guy running along board with John Porzick in the 7th position. But he is right on the rear right now of Brendan Lichtenberg. As you can see, the 2-wide battle going on ahead of them between Lichtenberg and Eric Davis. Down through the dogleg will go Lichtenberg, was right along board with John Porzick. He's the first one of these guys who have actually made a pit stop. He's going to be heavy on fuel right now, but if he can stick with this top 6 duo, then actually he's got a good chance of being in good position later on in this event.
Good position. Indeed, he really isn't racing the cars in front of him. He is the leader of the cars that have pitted. And for Eric Davis, his car really tight out of 4. That's where he's losing his time as we go yellow yet again.
And let's get a look to see who that one is. Don't see too many cars slow on our screen right now, so we'll get confirmation of that in just 1 moment's time. But under caution once again here at Phoenix International Raceway as we get a look high
Mike
above.
Testa yet again,
Mike
Alpha 2.
Testa, we believe, is out of this race. So let's get a look from here.
No.
See if we can see anything. Mike Testa, he's working himself on the racetrack. We're working on board with him. Down in towards turn number 1 and 2. And the back end of that car just, no, he's okay through there.
Yeah,
So
but then
it
as he
looks
gets to the
like,
dog leg, so I wonder if maybe he did have previous damage. I wonder if that damage did some excessive tire wear, heated something up, or maybe he had a tire go down there.
Yeah, let's stick it on board then with Mike Testa, see if we can figure anything out that happened to him. There you see, Centre 1 and 2, just losing that car. Now that in itself would bring the yellow out, but then there was a second spin. And one of the things with today is, Aaron, it seems to be that if the car spins it off the racetrack, then we still get the caution. You go to quite a few tracks here, where if they spin off of the racing surface, we remain green, whereas today, it seems to be that we get drivers losing, basically, their cars, and we still going under caution.
And here we go, pits.
Pit stops, and Demerit stays out. Interesting. Holgate in. And Porzak's in, so people that were on that split strategy did come in. I find that kind of puzzling, actually, but Demerit stays out.
Yep, as they can see Holgate coming out of pit road, he will be the first to leave. Then you can see Davis being beaten out by Norton and by Mattinson side by side, though, with the number 12 car of Brendan Lichtenberg as they work themselves out of the corner in the North Korea racing car. There you can see on the side pod. Our words are backed by nuclear weapons, apparently. But I've got a feeling I know what that's in relation to as well. That's a really quirky paint scheme. That's made me smile here today. John Porzak, you see right behind him, scored in the 8th position, and then Dustin Oils in number 44 Fast Eddie racing car get called out, rounds out your top 10. 48 laps now scored complete at Phoenix International Raceway. Christopher Demerit is classified as your race leader. Brandon Trost is beginning to cycle through up into 2nd place, and Tim Holgate in 3rd. We'll be back in just 1 moment's time.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun. It's all in control of Brad Davies in that 11 machine. Green flag flies. He's damn near banged up though. Now the 93 is going to push the 4 of Brian Day all the way up the wall. 4 wide down the super stretch point in the turn. And now the 93-39, the 3 machine goes around. Big trouble in the back. It's the race for the win up front.
Look behind him. They're 3 and 4 wide, trying to make a push to the front as the field gains speed in turn number 1. Kenny Humphrey, if he can rip it back to the start-finish line, will win here at Daytona.
7 laps to go. As you love it.
Here we go.
You love it. The 0-1 gets around. The 5 gets around. Big choke.
Working towards the end of a caution here at Phoenix International Raceway. Don't forget, 1st and 2nd of November, the 24 Hours of Spa here on RaceSpotTV. As we also kick off coverage of the 2014 Eisen.com Pro Series of Road Racing. Catch the world's greatest sim racing here on RaceSpot TV. Working ourselves at the conclusion of lap number 49 here. As you can see, our new race leader, Christopher Demerit, in the 144 Team Velociraptor car. He is the only driver, however, Aaron, not to make a pit stop as we go back to green. So there you can see Demerit leads the field down in towards turn 1. Now Brandon Trost has cycled back into that 2nd position. There you can see though Holgate in 3rd, and Holgate has got a good run as they work themselves through the dogleg. Will he try and go down to the inside in 3 and 4? No, he just stays in line for just 1 moment, Aaron.
Yeah, 1 moment there. And for Holgate, this is the first time we've seen him in dirty areas. He's going to go to the inside of Brandon, and Brandon gives way, so that's a little bit of give and take there. Brandon could have maybe forced the issue. Did not know Holgate has a phenomenal car, and he just lets him by.
Yeah, so move Holgate back up into the second position. Now, Christopher Demerit hasn't pitted so far in today's event. That means that he should, in theory, be a little bit faster as he almost goes to do his fastest lap of the race. There you can see he's done a 19.094. Yeah, if he'd done a 1 minute 19, I would be having some questions.
Oh,
but
boy.
He's got 2 places since the drop of the green flag here today. As he works himself out to the start finish line. So 19.0 to him right now. And just behind him, though, Tim Holgate is doing 18.9. He has, however, Cam, got the benefit of that draft.
Yes, and this is where we're going to see where Holgate and Demerit can start picking up this duel. Interesting how Trost got an end-of-line penalty, and yet here he is sitting in 3rd place.
Well, he did pit under that one, Aaron, didn't he? So he actually was able to use strategy moderately to his advantage.
Yes, that penalty was almost a godsend for him, putting him on this strategy. So he had issues in qualifying, did not qualify good. He was the slowest car of all qualifiers, but right now running on the last rung of the podium, not by strategy of his design, but for Holgate right now. We talked about the dirty air. There is the draft, but a lot of drivers have been having issues in the corner. Holgate's car is having no issues staying behind Demerit.
Dustin Orlett's moving himself past Eric Davis in the battle for position. There you can see from the rear of him, working themselves down in towards turn number 1 and 2. Once again, they remain side by side. Did Davis just hit the wall there?
Oh, it was close. It was very close. If he did, he just brushed it, but I think he's going to be okay.
Let's see a look then from Eric Davis, and he was mighty, and I mean mighty close to that wall there, Cam.
Yes, very good to not have that. Last thing you'd want to see is somebody who was running up front for the majority of this race to have a scrap like that. Now, it's interesting to see Ryan Norton is absolutely all over the rear end of Brandon Trost.
He is, and this is that battle for 4th position as we flick to it there. Having a look at Ryan Norton in an 84 broken air machine. Now he gets a good run. He'll move himself down to the inside of Trost, and Trost tries coming down to that inside line in the corner. He realizes just at the last moment. He does get a better run though on the high side down in towards turn 1, but now Norton will make that pass, and he makes it easy there as he completes the pass. And I don't think we get a crossover there from Trost, but Trost is running well. Terry Matinson just there in that mix as well, and the battle for 3, 4 and 5 is incredibly close right now, Aaron.
Yeah, and Matinson hit a big wall of dirty air right there. Might have been able to make a run on Trost, but just could not keep his car stuck to the groove in 3 and 4. Lost some ground. I really thought he was going to take a fight to 4th place. And behind Matinson, Brendan Lichtenberg is now joining the fight to try to get inside the top 5.
Brendan Lichtenberg running in the 6th position right now. And he is, well, from where he started this race, up 6 positions. Of course, you can't really classify starting positions for much in this race as he goes down to the inside of the number 25 car. That is a lap down car, one of the Kingsburys there. But Lichtenberg having a great run, running in P6. And of course, last season, he was one of our dark horses. He needs to get these early season finishes in the books, however, Aaron.
Yeah, that was his issues last year, just not able to put together the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he was one of the most consistent drivers we had, and if you can get in several great point finishes early on, you can be a little bit more aggressive with the way the drop system is. You can be a little bit more aggressive, maybe do some strategy that you wouldn't normally do to try to eke out a win.
There you can see the gap between your race leader and Tim Holgate. It's about 3 tenths of a second as it stands on the racetrack. Then the gap from Holgate to Norton is 2.1 seconds as it stands on the racetrack. There you can see Holgate. There you can see Norton into shot there as well. 4th place is Brandon Trost, and then rounding out your top 5 is Terry Matinson. And Matinson is there in that huge gap you've got going on. As you ride along board then with Terry Matinson in that number 8 Fancy Eurosport car. They're now into that stage, Aaron. These guys have got a couple of laps on their cars. We will see the fall-off starting for the first time in this event, and then we really get to see people's true overall speed.
Oh, you got that right. We haven't been able to see what anybody really has had outside for how good they are for one lap. So now we'll see who has what. And for the depleted field we have now, that is not good news for Demerit. If we go green and he has to make a green flag pit stop, you're going to lose 1, maybe 2 laps. And if you lose those 2 laps, it's going to be hard to get back, especially if a yellow comes out. And he's going to be looking at, what, doing 40? He's going to everybody else is going to have 40 laps on him up thereabouts.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, I think, for him to make it back up. Now, Eric Davis has just fallen through this field like a rock, Cam.
Yes, he is just trickling back, one position at a time. His lap times have been touching the 20s, which is not good, seeing as the leaders are running low 19s. He was running third. Now it seems like his rear end is starting to kick out on him. It's not good to see this happening. It definitely can't be to get safer place going through the middle field.
No.
We've proven that's not safe. So obviously something is definitely striking Davis's car.
I gotta wonder, before the previous pit stop, his car had been tight, so I wonder if they made an adjustment trying to loosen it up and went way too far with it.
As we're getting a look then at the number 74 car of Paul Jennings running
Demerit's in the pits.
Demerit is in pit road. So this is that green flag pit stop that no one would want to do as we get close to the halfway point of this race. And this is going to put him close to, if not 2 laps down now, Aaron.
And now it's almost like playing a lottery that, yes, he has no control. He has no control whether or not he's going to come out on the lead lap of this or going to come out 2 laps down. He's going to have to hope that the next 40 or so laps go green. And what we've seen the first half of this race, that's asking quite a bit.
He's back out and away on the racetrack. Where is Tim Holgate? Well, there is Tim Holgate, just working himself past the start-finish line. We'll go back to Demerit. There he is, but there is a lot of traffic around him.
Yellow.
And we are under yellow. This is the worst possible time for Christopher Demerit, as it's Anthony Kurnish there, who is around in the number 29 car.
Oh.
That is the absolute cruelest of fates.
He might be able to get 1 lap back. If everybody pits now, he'll get 1 lap, and then he's going to have to race his way back onto the lead lap, which I don't know if anybody has anything for Holgate.
Now let's have a look at Kurnish, and there you can see just losing it on the dog's leg. He does avoid everything, but he's going to need to get himself some fresh boots for sure there now, Aaron.
Yeah, and these tires are very finicky, and he's going to come in, get new tires. Question is, will Holgate and company make pit stops? This lap made it halfway, so let's see, will Holgate pit? The answer, yes, he does.
There we are. We'll go back to the pit stops in just 1 moment's time. Here's an onboard then from Anthony Kurnish, and you can just see losing it on the exit of 2 over the crest. We'll come back to that one in just 1 moment's time, because here is Holgate onto pit road. There's Norton on pit road as well. Trost Matinson. It's a very, very busy pit road. You see a couple of guys already into their pit boxes, but here is Holgate, and of course you really cannot mess up a pit stop now. We've seen some people mess pit stops up already this season. Let's have a look then to see what will happen for all of them as they are getting close to the midway point of today's race. Coming out of pit road, it will be Holgate leading the way, Trost into second, and then third will be Norton, 4th Lichtenberg, 5th we will have Matinson by the looks of it. But overall, once again, Holgate is cool and calm under pressure.
And Will, going back to Demerit for a second, that yellow actually could have been a godsend, because the yellow came out before Holgate was able to put him 2 laps down. So he's going to be on the tail end of the lead lap, so that yellow came, if it would have been 5 seconds later and he would have been 2 laps down, would have been bad. So for Demerit, not that bad off now. Going to be at the end of the line, but he should get the wave around.
And let's have a look then on board with Christopher Demerit, and we will get confirmation that he is, you see, 1 minute 4 behind the race leader, so he is classified on the lead lap. And to go back to the Kurnish incident, they're coming out of turn number 2, you do kind of fall down the cliff, and you want to run it up high so that you actually get a good arc down into the dogleg, but it does look as though as these tyres start to fall away, Aaron, these guys, if they run too far up high and they haven't fully unwound the wheel, that is the point where we start seeing some guys spinning in the dogleg. Of course, in the old configuration, they wouldn't be spinning into the dogleg, they'd be spinning into that safer barrier.
Oh, absolutely. The track has been widened, but you got that right. As the run goes on, the car gets a little bit tighter, and you have to put a little bit more steering input, a little bit more, and eventually you have so much that when the banking falls off, your wheels are pointed hard to the left, and they eventually do have grip, and unfortunately they give you grip when you don't want it, and around you go to the inside, and for Kernich, very lucky to keep it off all the walls.
Some drivers are about to get the wave around as we complete a caution here at Phoenix. We'll be back in 30 seconds time. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, coverage of the Pro Series of Road Racing is here soon on RaceSpotTV as we go back to green here as Tim Holgate once again leads at Phoenix International Raceway. Brandon Trost in second, Ryan Norton in third. They work themselves down into the dogleg once again. Confirmation that Christopher Demerit does get himself back onto the lead lap. There you can see him. We ride along board of him as he's got a no bueno car on his outside there. Christopher Demerit moves himself potentially up one position, getting himself past Steve Richardson in a battle for position there. Demerit, I think, now is a bat out of hell, Cam.
He absolutely has to be right now. Hopefully we can get a green flag run. It looks like we were about to get a green flag run before the rear end kicked out on Kernich's car. So it'll be interesting to see if Demerit can will either be completely demoralized or simply absolutely rip his way through this field.
Riding on board with Ryan Norton, of course. He's passed Brandon Trost once already. He looks like he's going to try and have a go down in towards turn number one. Not quite close enough. And actually, there you can see, big aero push. If you try and come down to the inside line into one, they're not able to keep on that inside if you don't have the lane, Aaron.
Yeah, and that's almost a creature of habit there. With the old car, I would make that move. You go to the inside just trying to get into the head of the driver in front of you, but with this car you really don't want to make that move till you can complete the move, because if you go in shallow you're going to hit that dirty air, you're going to lose the air off the right front of the wing, and you're going to push outside, and it's going to take you 2, 3, maybe even 4 laps to get back up there. And last time Norton passed Trost, it was a very intense battle. Trost gave Norton no room at all, and actually these two drivers aren't losing that much time from Holgate.
They are not, and as you can see, Holgate leads away right now by 2 tenths per second. We'll bring that ticker back up along the top of your screen. But Holgate from Trost is a couple of tenths per second, and back to Norton is again another couple of tenths per second. Lichtenberg runs in 4th right now. We ride along board with him in the number 12 Broken Arrow North Korean machine down in towards turn number 4 once again. Lichtenberg again is still holding to that pack. It is a 4-car breakaway, however, because Terry Martinson in that 5th spot is just a little bit too far back right now, Aaron.
Yeah, just a little bit too far back, but really, it looks like hopefully we have a green flag run, and if you're within 1-2 seconds of the leader, you can really make a lot of time up on pit entry. Typically, we don't talk about green flag pit stops here at Phoenix, but should we get to this point, anybody in the top 5 right now, if they can have the stop of their lives, can steal out this win. So right now, you just want to put yourself in a position. Just stay in the same area code as the cars in front of you to have a chance at this.
Austin Espati and Matt Kingsbury battling for position, and also Eric Davis, we talked about earlier on, having some substantial issues as we're having a look from the rear of him right now. He is still down in the 11th position. He did make another pit stop. Osman Espatino has made 5 pit stops here today, Aaron, but still somehow running in at the 12th spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, one of those pit stops wasn't out of choice when he got the end of the line penalty. He did come in to top off, so maybe there accounted for one of the extra pit stops, but he was close to that incident at front, so maybe he came in on that first stop, but running 12th, and having a eventful race up to this point.
And again, we're into that stage. You can see a big lift there for Vic Cordell through turn number 1, 2. But yes, Cam.
All right, Ray Kingsbury has just been enveloped by the front pack. He let Tim Holgate go and then came across Brandon Trost, who had to make Ryan Norton get on his brakes. I'm looking at Ray Kingsbury's car. The fastest he can go is 175 miles an hour, normally very fast. But when your leaders are doing 190 miles an hour, he's getting absolutely swallowed up and managed to break Trost's draft on Holgate.
Yeah, let's get ourselves a look at this.
Yes. This is some race control should look at heavily. If you're that slow and you can't keep a consistent line, that could have taken out 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place there.
There we saw it. Ray Kingsbury, he's allowed the leader out the lane. Then he had the issue with Trost. And of course, we know that famously there's issues with Kingsbury and Trost, but the racetrack isn't the place ever to set that one up. So there you can see, letting the race leader go by and then cutting across the racetrack there for Kingsbury. Now, that could well be a post-race penalty, I would argue.
The car has looked to have enough control. Maybe he did get loose. Maybe we can give him the benefit of the doubt, but you got to say that did not look good.
Yeah, we saw a replay there from Brandon Trost. We'll get one more from Ryan Norton. That did not look good at all, Cam, from the angle that we saw it. We'll go back and have another look at the one from Brandon Trost, because there you can see on the high line, back down to the inside. And from Norton, you can see he had to check up as well and had to run around the outside, almost ran into the rear, actually, of Brandon Trost. And this track is a small track. It is incredibly fast. It is very difficult to check up under any circumstance without running over your competitors.
Yes, absolutely. And it is rough to see something like that happening. I'm not a big fan. If you're 15 miles an hour slower than everybody else, you typically should know where you can let people pass and not. And of course, Phoenix is basically, you're taking one continuous turn here, but I'm looking at the times right now, and Trost is actually reeling in Holgate again, which is something I was not expecting.
Oh, agreed. I thought when he lost, he was about half a second, a little bit further behind. I thought that was going to be race over for him, or have to wait till the next yellow to get in touch. But Trost slowly reeling in our race leader.
Didn't gain anything that time by what, a 19.3 there for Holgate, 19.4 for Brandon Trost. The previous lap he was faster, as there you can see your top 3 on your screen as they work themselves out of corner number 4, completing lap number 96 of 145 here at Phoenix International Raceway. Your race leader still is Tim Holgate. As we have a look from the rear of him, there is the gap. It is 4 tenths to a second on the racetrack. That dirty air though does come into play once you're into the mid part of a fuel run. So all now Holgate needs to do is hit his mark, and for Trost it's about fuel conservation and tyre conservation and ensuring he doesn't allow this guy Ryan Norton to get past him.
If Ryan Norton does get around him, which in the previous run he did, so gotta wonder if maybe Brandon did make an adjustment that really has worked, since the previous run Holgate was pulling away 2-3 tenths of a second a lap. Not the case this time. And let's see, we went green around lap 78, was it? So, well, where is our fuel window? When are we looking? And we are looking at just one last stop late, are we not?
We are looking at one stop to the end, and I would say that some of these guys might try and do it early, knowing the fact that this race now has a more green feel to it. I would argue that we saw that you can just about do it if you've got a perfect race car without losing 2 laps. You have got that opportunity as we go
throw that
yellow.
Out the window.
Yeah, we're lap 100.
Kingsbury.
We have yellow and Matt Kingsbury. Did he just make contact there with his brother? Or was it just his brother slowing and actually hitting the wall in the process?
He lost it on entry into turn 3. A very bizarre. He just turned and lost the rear. So once again, I think tires came into effect, and then he tried to get back on the racetrack. And again, I got to wonder if maybe a flat tire. That's a very bizarre looking incident yet again.
Let's have a look then. On board from Matt Kingsbury down into 3 and 4. Now he lost that way on the entry as he comes from down into the corner, and then he spins that car again. I'm going to reserve some judgment there because I have to. But that car, it lost itself in 3 and 4. Now, what you normally do, if you lose your car in 3 and 4 cam, you just allow that car to finish sliding. What we saw Matt Kingsbury do there is that car then, it got itself straight, and then it had a second spin.
And
Yes.
sorry, follow that through, because Trost just about came into that accident and just about took out Holgate.
Wow.
I was about to say, I just saw that. It looks like Kingsbury just absolutely tried to wheel that car, force it to do something that it frankly didn't want to do, and it ended up spinning out. And then Holgate slowed way up in Trost. It just dove to the inside and went past him.
So here we can see Ray Kingsbury, you can see slowing down, almost hitting the pit wall. Just able to get away from it, and then we'll get one more look at it as cars are on pit road actually, so we'll come back to this one because cars are on and off of pit road. Now, did Holgate pit that time by?
Holgate pitted as well as Trost.
In fact, I think everybody
And Norton.
Everybody on the lead lap made a pit stop.
So we did see there, just on the top edge of our screen, Holgate and Trost really having to slow down. Trost almost running into the rear there of Tim Holgate, and that part of the racetrack actually is where it narrows down. So you've got to be very careful, especially since they've repaved this racetrack. It is still Holgate though, who leads from Brandon Trost, then Ray Norton rounds out your top 3, Lichtenberg in 4th, Tamer Tinton in 5th, John Paulzak in 6th, Cordell, Ollis, Borkenhagen and Romero round out your top 10. Aaron.
What an event. And we're going to see if maybe, if Trost did make a little bit of adjustment last time, we'll see if they go a little bit more. His car, previous run, could hang with Holgate. The question now is, it's not so much to hang, to use this line a million times, not so much to hang, can you make the pass? That will be the question.
Yeah, we've now gone from survival mode into racing mode. So you're now at the point that you've got to get yourself into position to complete this race. A couple of people, by the way, will get themselves the wave around this time by. One of those drivers is Steve Richardson. Another one of them looks as though it is going to be, is that the number 21 car there? Yeah, indeed so, of Matt Kingsbury is going to get himself a wave around this time, which will put him back onto the lead lap. But he's got some very damaged tyres in that car. Be interesting to see whether or not he's going to be able to hold on to that one, Aaron.
Yeah, these tires, you used to be able to abuse the old ones. These ones, when you heat them up one time, this restart's going to be very treacherous. It's easy to start this car in a straight line, but when you're starting on the banking in 3 and 4, that's where he will be restarting as the leader takes off, that car is going to be a handful.
So, Tim Holgate has led today a total of 79 laps. Your other race leaders have been this guy, Christopher Demerit, has led 23 laps, and then Brandon Trost has led 1 solitary lap here today. Working ourselves now. What caution number are we on, Aaron?
Yeah, I lost count after 5,
6
sorry.
or 7.
We're on caution 6 or 7, maybe 8 here at Phoenix International Raceway. Here comes the pace car in. 42 laps to go. Green flag back in the air.
Great start for Holgate yet again, and Norton's going to be close enough that he might not be able to do something in 1 and 2, but if he can use a draft and get the run out of 2, he may be able to do it. Let's see if Norton dives to the inside. Trost says no.
Yeah, Norton though is going to get himself a good run into 3 and 4. This is that momentum side. He's running himself high, try and duck himself back low. In fact, I think he actually had to duck himself high that time by Cam to avoid running into Trost.
Yes, and Phoenix, of course,
Yellow.
a track that we've known for as
Is
we go back under
Matt
caution.
Kingsbury? What a surprise. We talked about those tyres.
And that very bizarre
He takes the car out with him there as well by the looks of it. So it was Kingsbury in the 21 car. Let's get a look to see what happened to him. Now we did know that he was going to be slow on this restart because of those tyres. But let's have a look to see whether anything happened to him. Came down in towards turn number 1 and 2. And as we expected, Aaron, spins the car around.
And if he could have got his car off the track, the yellow didn't come out. Matt Kingsbury got his car straighted and started driving, and then pulled it to the bottom and just stopped and let it sit there, thus triggering the yellow. He might have been able to avoid the yellow, but now we go to... Oh, go ahead.
You guys are missing the whole thing that happened in turn 1. Kingsbury's, the both of them, Matt was passing Ray and took turn 1 wide. He got loose and actually made contact with Rob Unkile's car, and that's what chucked him into the air and did quite a bit of damage to him, and I believe that's when you guys started seeing it where he pulled off.
Yes, but I say, he lost that car in turn number 1 and 2. Now, we knew the tyres were an issue, because of course he was the person who brought out the previous caution. So we did know, Aaron, that those tyres were going to be an issue. But then after he spun, he did get hit, and then he brought the car off of the racetrack. Now, one would argue, rather than waiting for the towing vehicle, just go and get yourself a car off the racetrack. Alternatively, there was enough time potentially, but big factor is that we are back under caution. We will step aside. We will be back in just one moment. Less than 40 laps to go in the third round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League, round number 3 from Phoenix International Raceway. Having a look on board then with Tim Holgate. No one pitted under that last caution. We are set to go back to green flag racing, this time by your top 5. It is Holgate from Trost, from Norton, from Lichtenberg, from Terry Mattinson. That pace car is going to work itself out of corner number 4. We are going to go back to green flag racing here at Phoenix. There you can see that pace car darts itself back down on towards pit road, and once again, green flag is in the air, Aaron.
Green flag in the air, and Ryan Norton gets a good start, going to go to the inside, and we are going to have a change for second place.
Yeah, there you can see Norton moving himself then up to P2, and Trost isn't close enough there to make the cut under and try and do the switcheroonie there down in towards 3 and 4. I think this is going to be a superb battle now for your top 3, Cam.
Yes, as it did look like Ryan Norton had an absolutely great start on Brandon Trost. I think Trost was planning on Holgate to punch it the second the pace car pulled off, like he has in the last 2 or 3 times, but he didn't, and that cost Trost second place.
Well, that was that playbook thing we were talking about earlier, Aaron. Sometimes you got to run a running play, sometimes you run a passing game. That time, we saw Holgate mix it up, and it cost Brandon Trost second place. We're having a look then on board with John Porzak in the number 27 car.
Yeah, Norton is closing, and for Porzak, he's having a good run, running 6th. Terry Mattinson running 5th, so one position outside the top 5, and behind him, Vic Caudell, who I think last year got his first 16th Street top 5 here, but since then, last year that was attributed to attrition. This year, he has really turned up the speed and is competing on speed for a top 5.
Holgate leads then by 3 tenths per second over Ryan Norton. Last time by an 18.975 for Norton and 19.011 for Tim Holgate. This is your battle for the race lead. We've got ourselves a total of 14 cars still scored on the lead lap. Anthony Kerner, Trey Kingsbury, Rob Unglings are scored laps down. And now we have got ourselves 30 laps to go. Very quickly, it is worth discussing the rules of racing. In the last 10 laps of the race, we will have single file restarts, but lap cars will go to the rear of the field, whereas at the moment, Cam, they restart in line as we have a very slow car on the outside line. I believe that was Rob Unglings there, just allowing your leaders to go past.
Yes, it was very good to catch that rear end as he does.
Right,
Oh!
Does everybody avoid
Oh,
him?
no, he doesn't. Two free cars hits him. Oh, back
Paul
under
Jennings.
caution.
Paul Jennings' day comes to an end.
Was just about to say Rob Ungling's rear ends. He, of course, made contact with Matt Kingsbury as he had spun earlier and did some damage to his rear wing. I noticed how slow he was going, and his rear end started kicking out on him in the corner beforehand. Unfortunately, he spun right in the middle of the pack, and he got clipped by 3 cars.
Now, let's have a look at this replay. We'll see if we can get the super slow-mo up, coming down in towards turn 1 and 2. You see, he just lost it, tagged the wall, and then he came back down. And, of course, once you hit that safer barrier, there is nothing you can do. He's tried staining it, trying it off the racetrack. Then 1, then 2 cars hit him. I think Eric Davis might have got a piece of it as well. But Rob Unglings is classified as out of the race. Now, I'm not sure whether Unglings has had some issues to his race car. You did allude, Cam, that he might have had a bit of contact earlier on in today's event.
Yes, he lost his, he had to come into the pits and replace his front wing when Matt Kingsbury's car spun out in front of him, and he actually hit the car. And then he spun after that and did some damage to his rear wing. And of course, doing damage to your rear wing on a track like this, especially on the right side, is going to cause problems, as we saw his rear end was absolutely all over the place.
Couple of people topping up. Dustin Ollis on pit road topping up, and we've also got a couple of other people just coming out of pit road. They see Gary Balkenhagen got a little bit of damage to the right hand side of his car. Austin Espati in the 777 car making a pit stop, and Eric Davis getting a new front wing as well in the number 65 car as they come back on towards pit road. We are getting towards the end of this race, working ourselves on lap number 119 of 145 here, but Tim Holgate leads away. Now, it's going to be a case of, can Brandon Trost repay the favour this next time by? Because, of course, we saw Holgate been mixing it up all day long. Can Holgate try and flummox Ryan Norton into going early or going late? And potentially, now we could see, Aaron, Brandon Trost trying to come back.
You can, and then again, maybe can Norton time Holgate. Norton usually good at restarts, so we saw that the previous time. So for Holgate right now, it's time to pull out one of the trick plays out of the playbook. I think this restart hopefully is our last restart, which would make this the most important one of them all.
Tim Holgate started today's race in the pole position. He has led a total of 95 laps in today's event. Ryan Norton, we have a look on board with him. He started today's race in the 7th position. Now, started this race in the 9th position, now running up in the 2nd spot overall. And then Brandon Trost, there you see him. He has worked his way through the field a little bit as well, but has had a good race overall. Your top 3, can't take anything away from them. Lichtenberg runs in 4th, and then Terry Mattinson rounds out your top 5. Cam, who's going to win this race?
I'm going to have to go with Tim Holgate simply because he has been the master of restarts. This is going to be the 3rd person that's been trying to guess Holgate's starts, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can get the best in Norton, but my money's on Tim.
Aaron?
I gotta agree with that. Holgate has been the class of the field, and can somebody beat him? Yes, but I don't think it would be a wise bet to bet against him right now, so I do have to agree with Holgate.
Well, we can see lap 121 will be completed this time by. The lights are off on top of the RaceSpotTV first safety car, getting set to that dash to the flag here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, the RaceSpotTV Pro Series of Road Racing will be coming your way as we continue coverage of Open Wheel here on RaceSpotTV, and of course the 24 Hours of Spa, the 1st and 2nd of November. Pace car is in. The last run to the flag will start right now.
And Trost does not, he can't return the favor on Norton, but Norton, I think he would have wanted a better restart than that. Trost is going to look to the inside, and Norton says no to that, but Trost still within striking distance, goes to the inside. That's not going to work as they go single file.
Yeah, and that was potentially the best chance Trost would have had. He did almost, I would say almost get blocked. I think he was trying to go for a gap that wasn't there on anything else, Cam. Norton did nothing wrong.
No, Norton did not close a lane on him. Trost knew better, but it was very good on Trost. He let off just enough to let Norton ahead, as we've seen multiple cars being taken out by that earlier in the race.
Running on board, a bit caught down, the number 15 car, running behind Christopher Demerit into the 144 car, having to check up big time there, in towards turn number 1, Aaron.
And a very good job by Dustin Ollis, who is behind Vic to avoid both of those cars. So some very tight racing. We know Demerit has a fast car. He's going to look to the inside of John Porzak, and I don't think this is going to be much of a battle. Hopefully, Porzak's going to hang tough on the outside, and he is going to have the run into the dogleg. So I was wrong there. Porzak maintains 6th.
Right now, it's Holgate leading. There you can see him from Ryan Norton by 0.6 of a second on the racetrack. The last time by, it was an 18.9 for Tim Holgate, just a couple of hundredths shy of his best lap of the race, and there you can see the gap. It is about 0.7 of a second over Ryan Norton. In fact, Holgate, like last time by, a 10 faster. Well, Norton has, with 20 laps to go, really got to start pushing that last time by. Again, Norton a 10th slower than Tim Holgate, and Trost is still within striking distance of Norton as we have a look from the rear of that Broken Arrow number 84 car.
And Will, I do have to say I'm trying to keep ahead of Holgate here. He's got Gary Borkenhagen coming very quickly. He can only do a top speed of 167 miles an hour, 168. So he is going to get swarmed by Holgate, and then he's going to be right into lap traffic.
There we are, having a look on board with Gary Borkenhagen. We know what it's like for lap traffic. I wouldn't be surprised this late in the race to see Race Control making a move and bringing some people in. But here comes Holgate. Don't have any issues now. Hopefully Holgate gets through without any issue. In fact, it's actually going to be his own teammate, Ryan Norton, who gets held up the most there. That gap's up now to 1.1 second on the racetrack.
And that's going to be probably an insurmountable margin unless that dreaded yellow flag flies yet again.
So Ryan Norton continues to run in that second position, 19.055 for him that last time by. Holgate's now got a 1.2 second advantage behind. Side-by-side racing, Porzak and Cordell battle for position as John Porzak there loses out to Vic Cordell. And here's that lap traffic again of Gary Borkenhagen, and there you can see Porzak going past him without any issues. Now, good thing is for Borkenhagen, he has been able to keep that car running solidly without too many issues. The issues are some of these guys are catching him incredibly quickly.
And it's at that quickness that you think you're doing a good job staying out of the way, but you're just driving around at 160 miles an hour. It's if your car's not damaged, not that difficult. What you don't understand is the car's behind you doing 180, 190. Kind of hard to miss a moving target.
There you can see Eric Davis, and we know he's had some issues. 190 miles an hour down in towards corner number 3 and 4. A little bit loose actually on the exit of the corner, but he continues to run 11th place. A good battle going on between himself, Dustin Ollis and Austin Espartee in the battle for the 9th place on the racetrack. Out front, getting close to the 10 lap to go warning. And here is Tim Holgate. The gap is now 1.8 seconds, and Holgate has just cranked the wick up in the last laps of this race. And you have to say, Cam, sterling job again by Holgate.
Yes, and he has just broken into the 18-second window, an 18.925 there. Norton, he was about a 1.4 away. I don't think it was going to get any shorter, but he had to back off a little bit, getting past another lapped car. But now Holgate is absolutely putting down the gauntlet, getting under 18 lap after lap now.
And there you can see Ryan Norton. He has been able to pull away now to a 1.1 second advantage over Brandon Trost. There's confirmation on your screen. 10 laps to go here at Phoenix International Raceway. Trost in turn does have a 1 second advantage over Lichtenberg in the battle for the final spot on the virtual podium. And then Lichtenberg to Matinson, 1.4 seconds as it stands on the racetrack. Matinson to Demerit is about a half-second battle. And we had some close racing at this restart. But of course, with some of these guys not having pitted, Aaron, this heat cycle, these tyres, they're getting worn out really quickly in this dash to the flag.
And you got to be very careful right now not to have too much steering input on the exit of the corners. It would be just an absolute disaster to have a good day ruined inside the last 10 laps, and we have seen that before. So these drivers are going to be almost racing on eggshells. Hate to use that old adage, but really that's what it's going to be. Very, very tedious, very, very treacherous now in the final closing laps.
Dustin Ollis just getting past some lap traffic. He's got Austin SPT about a tenth of a second back as they battle for P9 on the racetrack, working themselves now close to 5 laps to go here at Phoenix International Raceway, and the gap between Holgate and Norton is now up to 3 seconds on the racetrack. This is the closest battle that we have on the racetrack right now, and it is between Ollis in 9th, SPT in 10th, and then Eric Davis, who runs himself in the 11th place on the racetrack. Christopher Demeria is trying to catch up to the rear of Matinson as well. That last couple of laps being faster than that of Terry Matinson, who's right along board with Christopher Demeria. Aaron.
And Demeria has had a good coming up through the field. Remember, he was pitted, missed out on the pit strategy thing, went a lap down, got the wave around, and he's had to come up through the field. Not an easy task here at Phoenix, and all things considered, running 6th right now. Not that terrible considering what could have been had he have been 2 laps down.
You can see that 3.5 laps to go now for Tim Holgate. As I say, he's now led 117 laps of today's 145 lap event. He has just been absolutely dominant, but SPT and Davis will have a look from the rear of Austin SPT. And there's the gap to Eric Davis. And American over Canadian is about 0.6 of a second on the racetrack as it stands right now. But we are winding the laps down. There is now just over 2 laps to go here. And Holgate, you can't take anything away from him, Cam.
No, a little slower that last lap, but I think traffic had to play with that. He has gone underneath the 18, he's entered the 18 seconds here. He is showing us that he is definitely the man of the field right now, and he definitely should be coming around to a great win after a very long day.
White flag is out. Half a lap now left to go for Tim Holgate, working himself through the dogleg for the final time. He's worked himself through all the traffic he needs to do. Tim Holgate will work himself out of corner number 3 and 4 for the final time. He will take victory here at Phoenix. He wins in the 16th Street Racing League at Phoenix International Raceway. Ryan Norton comes home to claim 2nd place. Brandon Trost will round out your podium. Then it'll be Lichtenberg. Yes.
Ryan Norton, very fortunate to finish 2nd. Ray Kingsbury crashed in front of him on the white flag lap. You might want to get a replay of that. Very close moment for Ryan Norton.
We will try and get ourselves a replay of that one. See if we can get an onboard from Ryan Norton. And it's been a wild, crazy race here today, Cam.
It has. I'm happy we were able to end it the way that we ended it. It was green flag, and definitely the man of the race won. He pulled away. Tim Holgate was able to pull away and show us that he was the rightful winner that he got.
So we're having a look then on board of Ryan Norton. This should be towards the end of the race. I think we are about a lap early. This is in fact is lap number 144. But it is, however, Tim Holgate who takes victory here today at Phoenix International Raceway. We will just have a look at this replay from Ryan Norton, see if we can get a look at the incident with the Kingsbury. There you can see 1 car just ahead of him. So this will probably be this lap or the next lap. So we will stick with this replay until we get confirmation of that. And yeah, it'll be this time by, we'll see car just ahead of him getting loose and losing his race car. Not the first time we've seen it. There you can see down in towards turn number 1. And Aaron, you're right. That is a very lucky moment there for Ryan Norton.
Yeah, Norton had a decision there on entry whether or not to go high. I think that car was going to stay to the bottom, but that's experience there. Most of the time when cars spin, they do go up the hill here. Norton did get way out of the throttle, let the spinning car get out of his way, and continue on, but that would have been a disaster to lose 2nd place that way.
Yeah, after the race that has been had today, it would have been catastrophic. But, ladies and gentlemen, what we can do is run through your final race results from tonight's event. And there you can see Tim Holgate taking victory by 4 seconds over Ryan Norton. Also, the fastest lap of the day goes to Tim Holgate as well. Brandon Trost comes home in 3rd. Lichtenberg 4th, Pattinson 5th, Christopher Demerit in 6th, Vic Cordell in 7th, John Porsick 8th, Dustin Ollis 9th, and then Austin Espiti rounds out your top 10. Eric Davis, Steve Richardson, the last 2 drivers scored on the lead lap. Anthony Kernish, Ray Kingsbury, Paul Jennings, Matt Kingsbury, Rob Unglings, Mike Tester, and Brian Simpson round out your top 20. And there you can see the rest of the time from today's race. A couple of non-starters as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be stepping aside for just one moment and we'll be back with post-race interviews here from Phoenix International Raceway.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to post-race coverage from this, the 3rd round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League here on RaceSpotTV. And we're going to have a chat now to our winner of tonight's event, Tim Holgate. Welcome back to 16th Street Racing League Victory Lane.
Hey, Will, good to see you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that race. It was a pretty exciting pacing. You know, there was a lot of back and forth over those yellow laps, but overall, happy for the Oboto car, for Snake Pit Racing to get the win here, regardless of how we got it. Knew we had the car the whole all week. It was just a question of getting the strategy, and everything went our way. So
now let's talk first of all about those caution laps, because it really does ruin a momentum at a track which really is momentum based. And with the fact that you've got to assess how that car changes throughout the course of a run, from the start when these cars have got a lot of grip on them to the end when you're struggling for grip, all of the constant caution laps does make it very difficult to judge at times.
Yeah, the team really thought about it ahead of the race to figure out how many laps should we target as a stint. And I don't think we did longer than 30. And we just happened to have a fast enough car that we played it conservative, ran as much downforce as we thought we needed to run a full stint. And, nobody could really compete on lap time with us anyways, so we had that option. That's not going to last. There's going to be more tracks like this. Guys are going to be closer, and there's going to be a lot of gambling in terms of going for a setup that does 20 laps real fast and then goes off.
Now, you had yourself that split strategy. You stayed out when other guys came in around you. Was that always going to be the call? Would you have done it differently had you have had the opportunity to make that one again? Was it the track position that to you was more important here today?
Track position, the way those yellows were going, was everything. I've always said there's safety at the front. At the point when I finally did pit early, I think we had 45 laps in or something, and I knew we could make it if the entire thing went green from there. So that was my call on that. I was kind of surprised that Christopher Demerit didn't go in at that point, because it was unlikely we were going to get another yellow, and even if we did, he was just going to get shuffled because the rest of us probably wouldn't have pitted. So there's a lot to think about when there's this many yellows.
Now, of course, the way this season works is we go from an oval to a road course in 1 week's time. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. This is going to be a much smoother road course. Barber's a fantastic track, his driver's track. I usually run pretty good there, although
Except for
the last
last
couple
year.
of years. No, I ran pretty good there. I mean, you guys give me a lot of flack for that just because I pushed a little bit overly hard with a setup that, wasn't quite there. But I still finished, I believe, 4th. So there wasn't really a whole lot lost there for pushing. And the goal was to try to finish in 2nd, so...
You do know that it's you're having a good season when we give you flack for only finishing in 4th place. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to say thank you to?
Oh, I'd like to thank the guys, Joe, Niles, Tim, putting on the show tonight. It was a good race, a great league. Want to thank Ubuntu. I'm always comfortable here. Good to have the sponsorship there. And I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I'm sure it was fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Not to worry. Tim Holgate coming home here today in the 1st position. Another victory for him, Aaron, in the 16th Street Racing League.
And it's looking to be his year, potentially a great showing so far. And, we've seen drivers that have good starts usually can continue it. So for Holgate right now, you got to say he is a man on a mission.
Ryan Norton came home 2nd in the 16th Street Racing League, pacing 1:45. And Ryan started well, finished well, had to get yourself past Brandon Trost a couple of times, but that restart, couple from the end, you really got yourself a good start, putting yourself up into P2.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It seemed like passing was a premium, and if you could get somebody on the restart, you could really move forward. So they were a little bit faster than me on the short run, so I had to get them on the restart or kind of work on them after that. So just got aggressive and got a little bit of advantage into one and capitalized.
Now, we were talking to Tim just a moment ago about the difficulties in adapting to 2 laps of running, 4 laps of pacing, 2 laps of running, 4 laps of pacing, and of course those restarts take quite a bit out of the tyres. How difficult was it for you to find a momentum in the early half of this race?
It's pretty hard, actually, because we were set up for a long, full fuel run. I was really happy with our set on the end of the long run. So trying to go 2 laps, 5 laps, stuff like that, it just made restarts that much more critical and kind of took our setup out of play a little bit. And kind of showed there at the end. Tim had a lot of speed, and I don't know what the end would look like if we just stayed green a little bit, but congrats to him, and it was a lot of fun, even despite some of the cautions.
I'm going to call them cautions as well. You and I are agreeing on something for once. But the thing about this race is that you have cars that work well at the start of a run, cars that work well at the end of a run, and it's very difficult to create a setup that works well for both because of the way that this track falls apart. Was that really the big issue when you were doing the setup building for today's event?
Oh yeah, it was always long run. You could do a lot for 15 laps and get away with a lot for 15, 20 laps. But if you started getting later on the run, the tires start getting hot and worn down, you could really lose a lot of time, a lot more than you could gain early in a run. So we gave up a lot early to try to get it late, and we were really happy with what we had. Of course, with the race played out, it wasn't what we needed, but that was a big challenge, and I felt like we came through, and looking forward to some of the other short tracks.
Ryan Norton coming home in the 2nd place here today in the Broken Arrow number 84 car. Anyone you'd like to say thank you to?
Yeah, just a lot of my teammates, just everybody. Too many to list. Brendan, Gary Borkenhagen, Andrew King, they all do a lot of work. A lot of other guys too, and really proud to see him up there in 4th. I know he drove a hell of a race, and shout out to Trost, he got 3rd, so good job for them.
Ryan Norton say coming home in the 2nd position. I was wondering where Brandon Trost was. I do believe he has some long-term difficulties in accessing our broadcast booth, unfortunately, so he's unable to talk to us here today. But we've got ourselves Brendan Litchberg, another Broken Arrow driver, coming home in 4th place in the People's Democratic Republic of North Korea car, So well done. 4th place to you, Brendan, in what was a bit of a crazy race when you're outside of that top 3.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. There's a lot of wrecks, and you just had to kind of let the race play out. Up front, it was actually pretty clean. I was up front most of the race, so overall, it was a good day for me.
Now, you started. We're going to actually have to figure out where you started here today. Do you know where you started?
I think I started 12th. Yeah,
started
12th
in the mid pack, and it was crazy in that first half of the race with a constant restart, caution, and of course you had to throw in a split strategy into going into that. At one point, there are 3 different strategies going on. Did you ever think I'm on the wrong strategy at all?
Yeah, I thought a few times. I was kind of questioning whether we kept staying out at the very beginning, but it played out to our advantage, so it wasn't a huge deal.
Now, of course, last year you were consistent on both the road courses and on the ovals. Here today, you've done a consistent job on the oval. In a week's time, we head over to the road course once again, Barber Motorsports Park, arguably the most difficult road course of the season that we're going to. Do you think that if you can do a good job there, you can put yourself into the championship hunt?
Well, championship hunt's a long way down the road, but I think I would have told you last year I would not have had much of a chance on road courses to begin with. I kind of showed at Sebring I do have the speed, but I made a drive error in lap 2, so just got to kind of work on my driving a little bit, and I think we can be there at the end.
Well, good job here today. Anyone you'd like to say thank you to at all?
I'd just like to thank the glorious DPRK and all my fellow comrades, especially Comrade Borkenhagen, who found a lot of speed for us this weekend, so thanks to him. Thanks to everyone at Broken Arrow.
Borkenhagen came home 13th place today. Slightly disappointing day for him in the number 24 car. Brendan Lichtenberg, however, comes home in the 4th position. And Mr. Aaron Likens is stood by right now with Christopher Demerit.
Christopher Demerit. Interesting race for you. You led for a time. Big moment for you, staying out on that yellow. Were you trying to stretch it into a one-stop race, potentially?
I doubt I could make it. I don't think I could make it on one stop. At the last second, I decided I was going to stay out and found out that was probably the wrong decision, but it didn't kill me gladly.
Yeah, you then went to the, made that green flag pit stop. Yellow came out, and were you about to go 2 laps down when that yellow came out?
Holgate was, I think, 2 seconds behind me when the yellow came out, and I probably would have gotten past. I didn't think about that, so I probably would have gone 2 laps down at that point. I'd have been done.
So on one hand, that yellow kind of hurt you, kind of helped you, but you then got to wave around, and tell me about your cutting through the field to get back to where you finished.
I actually put extra downforce right before I got onto the track. It was like a last minute sort of deal. I'm very glad that I did though, because that actually came in handy. If I didn't put that downforce on, I don't think I would have been able to cut through quite as quickly, but I'm happy with where I finished, so that's good.
And have to ask this, if things played out differently, if the strategy would have been different, would you have had anything for Holgate?
No, I'm going to be blatantly honest. Norton and Holgate are both, they had great sets that they worked on. I couldn't match them.
Oh, 6th place, anybody want to thank here tonight?
I need to thank Brandon Trost for working on the set. I need to thank pretty much everyone on my team. Matt Palsky, everyone who just worked on this set, and that goes back to the baseline set too, which is basically almost everyone on my team. So shout out to all of my people on my team.
Oh, that's Christopher Demerit finishing 6th in a most interesting fashion.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much all we have time for here tonight from the 3rd round of the 2014 16 Shoot Racing League here on RaceSpotTV. Before we go, don't forget the Pro Series of Road Racing is coming your way all season long. The first race of that is the 1st of November. Watch some of the drivers preparing to make it into the big leagues of the ISO.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, including a couple of drivers from Vortex Sim Racing we saw an ISOWC competition earlier on this year on RaceSpot TV make their charge to get themselves in to the World Championship. Also like to give a congratulations to Peyton Manning, who has very recently scored his 508th touchdown, which of course matches that of Brett Favre, looking to get onto 509 to break that record. He's about to do so in about 5 minutes time if anything that Denver does is going to work out well. And don't forget, the 24 Hours of Spa is on the 1st and 2nd of November here on RaceSpotTV. Join myself, Will Vincent, and Oscar Hardwick as we try and do 27 hours of non-stop commentary, all in name of good cause. I'm raising money for the Alzheimer's Association. Oscar Hardwick is doing it for Action for ME. So check out all information on that on RaceSpot.tv/24H. This has been a RaceSpotTV presentation of the 3rd round of the 16th Street Racing League from Phoenix International Raceway. In 1 week's time, we head over to Barber Motorsports Park, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.